Sunbeam, along with our judges and our event curator and designer Parnav sir, to the premises of Sunbeam Annapurna today for the second edition of Aspirations, the inaugural opening ceremony of Aspirations today.
From the city older than history, the city older than tradition, the city older than even legends, and the city that looks twice as old as all of them put together. I am Sunbeam. I am Sunbeam. I am Radhikeshi, the host of today's event. I am Shrishti Mishra, the co-host of today's event. We, the Sunbeam Annapurna family, extend a very warm welcome to all the members of the board of Sunbeam Group, to our chief guest and curator of the event, Mr. Purnav Mukherjee, principals, dignitaries, teachers, and students of our participating schools. We are thrilled to express that after successfully completing the first edition of Aspirations 2021, we are again here with the second edition of Aspirations 2022. We are proud to share that this year we have been joined by 560 enthusiastic and talented participants from across 33 schools, hailing from 10 different states of India. The year 2022 holds a significant place in the hearts of every Sunbeam as we celebrate the 50 years of Sunbeam Group. The Sunbeam Group, over these 50 yielding years, has proven its deep-rooted prowess in academic and co-curricular distinction, humanitarian dispositions, sustainable transition, and holistic individual transformation. Sunbeam, as a visionary institution, will continue to adopt and evolve, staying true to its roots. The year 2022 is a landmark year for India too. It is the 75th year of our existence. The journey of 75 years after independence is the reflection of the hard work, innovation, and enterprise of ordinary Indians. Whether in the country or abroad, we Indians have proved ourselves with our hard work and passion. We are indeed proud of our constitution, proud of our democratic traditions, proud of our rich cultural heritage, and of course, proud of the progress over the last 2 decades. As the country moves forward with the celebrations under Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, Sunbeam Annapurna joins hands in reminiscing the tremendous contribution of 5 such stalwarts in the field of history, literature, art and culture. In this journey of 75 years independence, we dedicate our event, Aspirations 2022, to the 5 milestones.
One such great luminary is Pandit Bhimsen Joshi. He is the Bharat Ratna awardee, also known by the honorific prefix Pandit, was one of the greatest Indian vocalists from India. In the Hindustani classical tradition, a brilliant exponent, a legend famous for perfecting the khyal and well known for his presentation of devotional music. Today, Sunbeam Annapurna bows down to the legend on his birth centenary for his tremendous contributions to art form and culture of India. Amarnath Sehgal sir, the man, the artist, the poet, the sculptor. His technical yet highly unusual drawings, pastels and sculptures set him apart from the Indian modern artists of his time, while his artworks and verses are an account of the politics of power, the resulting violence and displacement. They also stand as strong testimonies of resistance, hope, connection, kindness, vitality and humanity. As we celebrate the birth centenary of the sculptor, we draw inspiration from his efforts in establishing the Creative Fund in Luxembourg to help young artists of Luxembourg and India to discover and be inspired by the history, the culture, and the heritage of both countries.
Sir Rakhal Das Banerjee is the name synonymous with the discovery of Mohenjo-daro, the discovery of a new civilization in the Indus Valley 100 years back. The discovery is cited to be the most important discovery in the world, as it brought the world's attention to India and an interest to study Indian culture, society, and its past history. Sir R.D. Banerjee was an eminent Indian archaeologist and museum expert too. He was the professor of ancient Indian history and culture at the Banaras Hindu University from 1928 to 1930.
Hss Lawrence, sir. This year, we also celebrate the forthcoming birth centenary of Hss Lawrence. He was an Indian educationalist born in Nagarkol, Tamil Nadu, and a special director of school education. Lawrence planned and implemented the All India 10+2+3 pattern of education in 1978. He was honored with the title of Father of Vocational Education in Tamil Nadu for his exemplary contribution in school management and vocational education. Habib Tanveer, sir, director, actor, playwright, poet. Habib Tanveer was a man of many colors, all rolled into one. His vibrant personality and talent are fondly remembered by many in theatre and cinema. Tanveer's plays like Agra Bazaar, Charan Das Chor, Gauna Sasural, Morna Daman, among many others, are widely recognized as the classics of contemporary Indian theatre. Habib Tanveer, a role model, a mentor, and an inspiration for the aspirants of theatre, holds a special place in the heart of all students who step up on the stage to perform. We take this opportunity to express our homage and respect to the stalwart on his forthcoming centenary.
Ladies and gentlemen, Aspirations 2022 is a small effort to showcase our gratitude and respect to these 5 legendaries for their contribution to the rich culture of India in the course of its 75 years journey. Taking the event a step ahead, we feel ourselves deeply elated and immensely fortunate to be the host for 33 schools who have joined hands with us virtually to make this event a grand success in its own way. Let us put our hands together to welcome the participating schools as their name and pictures roll on the screen. For Singapore International School, Mumbai.
Venkateshwar International School, New Delhi.
Sunbeam English School, Bhagwanpur, Varanasi.
Let's hear it for the Indian School, New Delhi.
St. M.R. Jaipuria School, Lucknow.
Mayo College Girls School, Ajmer.
Sunbeam School, Sarnath, Varanasi.
Put your hands together for City Montessori Inter College, Gomtinagar.
GB International School, Nava.
Lotus Valley International School, Noida.
Put your hands together for BK Birla Center for Education, Pune.
Can we hear it for Sunbeam School, Indranagar, Varanasi?
Put your hands together for La Martiniere Girls College, Lucknow.
Mayo College, Ajmer.
DAV Public School, Hazaribagh.
Sunbeam School, Mughal Sarai.
Sunbeam School, Lehertara, Varanasi.
Mount Literacy School, Amritsar.
Indraprasth World School, Delhi.
Can we hear it for Bal Bharti Public School, Noida?
Sarla Birla Public School, Ranchi.
Cygnus World School, Vadodara.
Maharani Gayatri Devi Girls College, Jaipur.
Ma Anandamai Memorial, Haridwar.
Delhi Public School, Gaya.
Jayashree Perival Global School, Jaipur.
Sunbeam School, Varuna, Varanasi.
participating team. May the spirit of the competition prevail itself and help the participants to deliver a higher level of performance and ultimately leave them with the best versions of themselves. All the best.
It is a privilege to introduce and welcome one of the members of the jury, Mr. Hss Singh Bhatia sir here. Sir is a documentary filmmaker and video installation artist. He is currently working for a documentary project on Burmese refugees in Mizoram. His recent projects include nation's first rock band-driven immersive travel and reality series traversing through geographies of Northeast India. He is one of the key members of a curatorial team of Zyro Festival and has worked to showcase the oral tradition and culture of Northeast India. He has formerly been a TV producer for Ek Nai Subah Jaipur Feet, collaborated on films on tourism in Chhattisgarh, and as a producer with the White Balance Films. We are indeed blessed to have you amidst us here, sir. We welcome you to Sunbeam School, Annapurna.
Our creativity isn't a matter of chance, neither the matter of coincidence. The best way to talk about it and actually live and experience this beautifully engrossed blessing of God. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to give a grand welcome to the man of theatre, the one who picked up various fields and lived many lives in one, a quiz master, orator, an independent media analyst, and so much more. Please put your hands together to welcome Mr. Panda Mukherjee, who would be conducting this knowledge exposition.
Now, we request the honorable board members of the Sunbeam Educational Group to kindly felicitate Mr. Panda Mukherjee. We request Purnab sir to kindly step forward and accept the token of love and gratitude.
Sir to kindly come up on the stage and accept the token of love and gratitude.
members to kindly stay back for the Deep Pratishtapana. I request all the board members to take their positions, and I request Amrita ma'am to kindly stay back to address the gathering and enrich us with her encouraging words.
Thank you so much, dear. And good morning, Jai Hind, to all of you all who are here, dear teachers, and all of you all who are listening to us online. I'm so happy that for the past few years, Annapurna is now in the circuit with Parnavda. And I think that's made all the difference. It's what the children do on the stage here is one part of the whole story. But it's the journey that they go through when they are with Parnavda and they are going through their workshops and the teachers are involved and everybody starts thinking at a different level and it makes a complete difference in the culture of the school. I think that's what is the biggest gain for the institution. Thank you so much, Parnavda, for being associated with us for the past almost 8-10 years now and making a difference every year from one branch to the other. I think everyone's evolving in this. And I think the best part of our journey with you is not only that everyone rubs shoulders with you, but also rubs shoulders with people like Sahaj and so many others that you get in the fold with Sunbeam and everyone, Sahaj in particular you. There's so much to learn, whatever little I've read about you, met you, the kind of work you're doing in Northeast, the kind of it's a very neglected area, but that's the place where you realize that there's so much of Indian culture that is deep-rooted and so much that we need to learn. We talk about diversity of India. I think Northeast possibly shows us maximum diversity in the smallest area when it comes to the differences and diversity and the respect that we need to give for embracing every part of India. Thank you so much for making that happen. When it comes to aspirations, the very word in itself, I think, is aspirational because the fact that you have your dreams, that you have aspirations and you have the ability and I would say the guts to turn your dreams into reality, that in itself is step one for making a change. And then when you dedicate it to such great luminaries, and the diverse areas that they come from. You have an Hss Lawrence, sorry, but I'm actually kind of admitting, for the first time I told Mamta ma'am, wait, let me first go through who was Hss Lawrence. And I was surprised to know that he was the one who brought in the 10 plus 2 plus 3 in 1978 into India, and for years we've been doing that, and I've been saying, oh, we know hell of a lot about it, we didn't even know who actually brought it in. So I want to admit that I think I should read more and learn more in the first place. But then this is the kind of spark that, programs like this or events like this give you. You must read about this extremely I think, visionary person like Hss Lawrence, who did this in Tamil Nadu and then finally it was adopted all over India in 1978. Habib Tanveer, someone we've had the good fortune of meeting and working with, because he was here for our Banaras festival. And I remember another person at a completely different level. We were the few lucky ones who could rub shoulders for 10 minutes with him. Children, you must read about this theatre person who thought completely at a different level altogether. And the kind of theatre that he did is something that each of you all should read about and look into wherever you can. There are a few of his theatres on YouTube also. You should check them out. And of course, when it comes to Bhimsen Joshi, someone we really keep very close to our heart, because we belong to a gharana at Varanasi, and music is supposedly in our veins. So how can we not connect ourselves from that point of view with Bhimsen Joshi? When it comes to Rakhal Das and when it comes to Amarnath Sehgal, of course, each one, both of them in their own fields, one a sculptor, the other an archaeologist. I think it's very important that we know and learn more about them. This also goes to show the multi-dimensional aspect of aspirations. So I hope that on every different aspect, you read more, you learn more, and bring the best out of you. We were just discussing about the mirror this morning sitting in the office. I love my 10-15 minutes which turn into almost hours with Pranabda in the office. When I tell him, okay, be critical about the system, and he comes up with something, then I tell him, no, let's do it this way, and then there's a third thing that comes up. So even the mirror had a new aspect which we will change in the institution. But the fact remains, it's only when we are critical of what we are doing, which we think we are doing so well today, that's when you actually better yourselves. And that's what aspirations is all about. Change. Push yourself for changing for a better tomorrow. All the best to every participant, every teacher who's going to be mentoring your students, have already and will continue. It's only a journey. Today is only an event, but this journey will continue. I hope that you take this as a learning journey, and may the best person win, may the best team win. It doesn't matter. If you've participated and learned, you're a winner. Thank you and Jai Hind.
Thank you, ma'am. Friends, we now request Mr. Parna Mukherjee, sir, the curator of the event Aspirations, to kindly come up on stage and address the gathering.
Good morning. Good morning. Respected board members of Sunbeam, who've been shaping this institution. 50 years is a long journey for a group, both in its mind, physical space, molding life of students, principals, teachers, students at large. The realities, the people, the mind spaces I'm privileged to work with, along with different collaborators we bring all the time. First of all, a deep thank you to all the collaborators. Those who are not present here and joining physically in terms of virtual presence: Devika Sharma, Partho Banerjee, Gautam Bajoria, Sahaj is present here. Thank you so much for joining from your different ends. Of course, each of them will be introduced as we close and give the final results with their bits of what they've shared for the larger society. Very quick word. What is the difference between a primary, junior and a middle school conclave and a senior event? The first difference is, in a senior event, when you're on the threshold of college, you are picking up a skill which is basically a hobby turning into a passion. In a middle school, the pedagogy is completely different. The pedagogy of the middle school and the aspiration of the conclave, and largely what we discuss at large, is basically how are you forming of what you will arrive at in 4 years' time. So middle school is the first laboratory to form a certain idea. How do we do it? A quick example. Why I'm giving the example, even if it's tedious as a speech, is simply because that's where pedagogy is put into work. Example is very simple. You are learning water conservation system, suppose in Varanasi. That's a part of your class 6 to 8. the basic baby steps of environmental sciences, EVS, and you are integrating that with your science. Now, it is very obvious for a cart-driven city. The city is a network of almost 83 kunds and 23 sarovars. Of the 83 kunds and 23 talaus, how many of them are present in the water network of the city? How many have disappeared? How many are mythological? How many are contemporary? Simple. If an entire class 8 makes a map of the disappearing kund, puts it into a simple GPRS or a scannable barcode, then at some point of time, even a big scannable barcode, which one can see at different ends of different cities in India, would mean that a simple telephone aiming at the barcode to scan from the photo section would mean that the 23 talaus and the 84 sarovars are recorded for posterity, and you can do it yourself. This is where you don't need to go beyond CBSE. You need to reinvent the CBSE. This is where the textbook comes into play. For example, you wrote a short story. The short story has, say, Chhattisgarh at the background. Now, you mentioned 5 places in your short story. How about giving 6 lines about the 5 places in the appendix and a small mimeograph Chhattisgarh map telling the child in the short story, hello, here is where my story is located. Which means it is not a pedantic short story, but a short story with a map, like I believe English teachers who teach English language, English literature, without a globe or without a geographical map actually doesn't teach. Because how would you teach Pablo Neruda in class 11-12 without telling that Neruda belongs to Latin America and the Chilean poets concerned can't be an English poet, and English poets concerned can't be an African poet. So if you don't discuss Chile, then how do you teach Neruda? Now you might say that for a CBSE answer, I don't require Chile. There's a poem called Neruda's Keeping Quiet. It's in the class 12 syllabus. I need to read it and give it. The point is the poem an opportunity to learn 5 lines more, or is the poem is only to explain a poem? This is where the pedagogy of a middle school comes in, that you put the teaching reality to the teachers that is continued in the high school. So all our events, the 6 people dedicated, have been woven into the topic of the event. Habibji studied in RADA in London. He came, he unlearned what he learned in RADA and worked with sharecroppers and farmers of Chhattisgarh. I remember sitting in London and watching, in one of the most magical moments in my life, Habibji's group performing Kamdev Kapna, Vasant Ritu Sapna. He was telling the larger audience in London, you can do Midsummer Night's Dream of Shakespeare. That's the Chhattisgarhi name. Kamdev Kapna, Vasant Ritu Sapna. In Chhattisgarhi. For a moment, a British audience didn't really understand Shakespeare belonged to Bastar or Shakespeare belonged to London. And it's a transformation. So what Habibji did was just magical. Magical. I mean, there's a bunch of 60 actors on stage acting Shakespeare to an English-speaking audience in London in absolutely Tate Chhattisgarhi, and the audience is absolutely spellbound because the image of the theatre is so overpowering. You are speaking Midsummer Night's Dream, and there is no language barrier because Habibji believed that theatre is a language. It's not English, Bangla, Hindi, Telugu, Tamil. Theatre in itself is a language, like music is. Hss Lawrence, one of the finest Indian minds who worked through the education system of Afghanistan. Today, in a slow disintegration of Afghanistan, one forgets a pioneer like Hss Lawrence, who taught himself portions of Pashto to actually understand the Afghan realities apart from the 10 plus 2 plus 3, and more importantly, the fact that we are talking about skilling India, vocational training, is a man who always believed that India is a combination of IIT and ITI. Take away ITI, there is no IIT. So, absolute visionary. Nakhal Das Banerjee had a Banaras Connect. He put about 3.5 odd years of his life in BHU. But most importantly, he took up archaeology at some point of time when archaeologist as a profession was unthinkable. So when you look at the early pioneers, Alexander Cunningham, take him away, there is no Sarnath. That's Alexander Cunningham, Princip, of course a genius. Nakhal Das Banerjee, Dairam Sani. These are people who felt geologically a land should be dug without changing the ecosystem. I'll give you an example. Suppose if you say PV Sindhu is bad in physics, or Saina Nehwal is bad in physics, I'll have a long debate with you. I'll tell you the debate. I don't care for PV Sindhu's physics marks in class 8 or class 12. But what I do know for a fact, and it's a common fact, even you know, if a lady is playing in Mexico, and a lady is playing in Brussels, and the lady is playing in, say, South Asia, and the lady is playing in India, every indoor stadium where badminton is played would have differing humidity, different spectators' presence, so the shuttlecock will not behave the same way as a high altitude in Mexico and, say, a lower altitude in Siliguri. If you understand your racket speed to know how the altitude changes the behavior of a shuttlecock, then I think you probably know physics better than us. So the question is what? In a conventional sense, PV Sindhu is not a physics topper. In a conventional rubric, she may have been a sports achiever who probably didn't have to study in a conventional way as well. Flip the side. She probably is a physics topper who knew physics in some other flip side from the physics that you know. This is where middle school is. To teach the children flip side. If we tell the children in 2050 the careers will not be same as 2022, then for the 2050 career, are you teaching flip side? So personally, I identify myself as a knowledge resource curator or a pedagogist. That I debate, that I quiz, that I direct theatre is also what I do. Essentially, as a pedagogist, I feel when you teach two things to children, and sometimes in a larger convention for syllabus is taught less, a child overlaps and changes and blooms and flowers. And what are these two things? One, city as a textbook. Your city is a textbook. I always tell quizzers, the best quiz book is mug up the name of Delhi roads. Delhi has 8,000 roads, of which 4,500 are named after visionaries across the world. Almost 800 are named after father of different nations. Learn Delhi roads, half your quizzing is sorted. City is a textbook. Second, and the last one, is an event here called Living Newspaper Project. How much of the newspaper is integrated? When you split your blackboard, whiteboard, smartboard, you put the newspaper, you put the subject, and say, today page number 4 of the newspaper has line number 48, and that is reflected on your chemistry textbook. So the 21st century teacher, thank you sir, 21st century teacher needs to learn the newspaper as a textbook and not textbook as a newspaper by glossing through. So I guess with city as a textbook, with a living newspaper, with a sensorium, you tend to understand that the middle school learning is key to a high school innovation. More power to Sunbeam Annapurna. May their learnings, may their corridors, may their textbooks doesn't get encumbered by what is to follow in a syllabus. 6 to 8 is a sponge. you either teach the flip side or you miss the bus. 50 years of Sunbeam, they've got 3/4 of the buses. And I'm sure the group is reinventing itself to know that the bus which is running on fuel will run better on green energy. Deep thank you to Sunbeam Group. At different points of time, you re-energize. And what is a conclave if energies are not exchanged? Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Moving forward in the journey, I would like to introduce you to all the other judges of the events who would be joining us in this mega event. We are extremely privileged to introduce you to our jury panel for the various events of aspirations. Starting with Mr. Sanjay Umang Singh Bhatia, who is here with us in person. Next up we have Mr. Parthu Banerjee, sir. Coming up we have Mrs. Dirika Sharma. Next lined up we have Dr. Nandita Banerjee. Can you please hear for Mr. Abhishek Pal? Last but not the least, Mr. Gautam Bachoria.
When we talk of India at the 75 and Pandit Bhimsen Joshi on the same platform, how can we not remember Pandit Ji's most memorable performance dedicated to our country? That is the song Mile Sur Mera Tumhara, in which he appealed to the masses of India to be united as one nation, dedicating a wonderful choreography by the students of Sunbeam Annapurna on the same number as a mark to the great legend.
दिया वर्दिशा से, बह के सागर में मिले बादलों का रूप लेकर, बरसे हल्के हल्के।
मिले सुर मेरा तुम्हारा, तो सुर बने हमारा। सुर की नदियाँ हर दिशा से बह के सागर में मिले बादलों का रूप लेकर, बरसे हल्के हल्के। मिले सुर मेरा तुम्हारा, तो सुर बने हमारा। मिले सुर मेरा तुम्हारा।
Thank you, friends, for your soul-touching performance. Moving forward in the journey, we now request the Honorary Director of Sunbeam Group of Educational Institution to kindly step forward and join us on the stage to address the gathering.
Hello, Jai Hind, and a very, very warm welcome to all the participants of the various schools. I believe there are 33 schools which are participating in Aspirations, the second edition of Aspirations. I would like to congratulate the team of Sunbeam Annapurna for wonderfully hosting the second edition of Aspirations. I wish all the schools which are participating and the 500 members who are participating the very best for this event. At the same time, I would like to thank Pranab Da, who has been associated with us for so many years, and Mr. Sehaj Bhatia, who has been coming to Sunbeam for so many years. Both of them and the other judges who will have the tough task of making sure that the best contestants are awarded for their merit. So I wish all the participants the very best, and with that, thank you and Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. William Blake was utterly correct to say, "What is not proved was once merely imagined." No matter how colorful and blissful the world is, and it can be in the days to come, literature has always acted as the most powerful weapon, be it for the sake of giving a social message or for entertainment.
One such master of words and short stories, who made an immortal space for himself with his writings, is Habib Tanvi. He indeed was a wizard who created everlasting plays like Mitti Ki Gadi, Agra Bazaar, and many more. Even if we attempt to give words to his persona, we would fail for sure, as his magic was more for being felt than weaved into words. We take this opportunity to extend our heartfelt gratitude to the person who conceptualized the play, Mr. Dhirendra Mohan Tiwari sir, and director, Mr. Pratik Mahan sir. So ladies and gentlemen, fasten your seatbelts as we are about to go for a time travel journey to relive that phase of time which witnessed some of the most iconic creations of this iron-minded genius, Habib Tanvi, through a play, Charandas Chor.
सूरज चांद रहेगा, जयनाथ का नाम रहेगा, जब तक सूरज चांद रहेगा, जयनाथ का नाम रहेगा। Oh, brother Jagannatha, come out.
Arey, Minister Sahab, how are you? What is the matter?
The queen has called you to the palace and she has sent an elephant to take you there.
Oh, where is the elephant?
There!
feel well only when you will remain alive. Soldiers! Come! Rakib is trying to misbehave with me. Who has let him feel like this? Where were you, slackers? How dare he enter his life? He's asking me to marry him. Such match-shifting is brutal.
Thank you, friends, for this breathtaking performance.
We are honored to have to invite Mr. Deepak Madhok Sir, Chairman, and Mrs. Bhati Madhok Ma'am, Director of Sunbeam Group of Educational Institution, to kindly come up on stage and address the gathering with their encouraging words.
Morning and Jai Hind everyone, and a very warm welcome to all the students who are participating in Aspirations today. A big thank you to Mr. Bhatia and Mr. Pranavda, who have not only guided the students today, they have been with us from last so many years, and the kind of maturity, the kind of changes I notice in the teachers, in the students, and the way we look at the problems or solutions all around. You know, this mindset change is a very important contribution which people like Pranav Dao has made. I would also like to take away a leaf from what Mr. Pranav Dao said when he spoke about how many kunds are there and how we should know our city well. So sir, I would like to share this with you that at Sunbeam, our students have written few stories and which are only on Varanasi, in and around Varanasi. But yes, these are not only stories, we'll take it to another level. As you said, we'll somehow historical facts with geographical locations, everything will club, and I'm sure this learning will go a very long way. I would like to thank you for your inputs always. It's always a learning experience for all the children. You are winners if you are sitting and attending the programs and noting down the things which may be new for them, which will be new for them, for you, and which will help you to learn more. So this experiential learning is what we are looking forward to. I also, with a lot of pride, that we are celebrating 75th year of our independence, and what better tribute, because when we see who are the people who made our country India, we cannot ignore, neglect the scientists, the physicists, the artists, the theatre people. Everyone has contributed in its own way, and through aspirations, these 5 stalwarts whom we are dedicating this festival to, I'm sure we have to learn lots from them. So with these words, all the best to all the participants. We'll be winners only when we learn. It's not only just one prize. Our learning is our biggest gain, and I hope all of us continue in this journey of learning. All the best. Take good care of yourself.
Thank you, ma'am. I request you to kindly stay back on the stage to declare the event Aspirations.
May I invite Chairman Sir also to join and say a few words, and then together we'll declare the meet open.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I would just say that a warm welcome to all the 33 schools and the participants and the teachers, mentors, and once again a warm welcome to Parnavda, and we have Mr. Bhatia here, and to all the judges also. Everything in the world is a quest for knowledge. Religion, philosophy, science, quizzes, walking on the road, reading the newspaper, everything right from 150,000 years since the human race migrated from East Africa is a quest for knowledge. All our religion is a quest for knowledge, all our philosophy. Recently I was reading this book by Stephen Hawking called The Grand Design, and each page, mind you, should be read by everyone who practices religion and philosophy. Because he says that philosophy today, religion today, is not giving us the answers which we wanted. The quest for knowledge, who we are, where we are, what is this universe, what are we doing here? So all this comes only when you are open to knowledge. And unfortunately, we are not open to knowledge. We closed our minds to knowledge. We refused to learn more. I was horrified by a parent's telephone yesterday, and he just asked me, "Sir, will my child of class 9, does he have to go to school?" I think the coaching will do everything for him. The shortcut to success. You know, do you think you are going to make your life successful, your life happy by just doing shortcuts of becoming something on a post when you don't even know what you are doing about? Amrita ma'am just now mentioned about Hss Lawrence and about how 10+2 came. See, I would always say one thing, that what it was said by Albert Einstein. He said that education, and that's one of the best definitions of education, mind you. Education is the successive realization of our ignorance. So we are ignorant. We are like frogs in wells. When we sit in our little books, in our own little empires, I call them, we don't look out of the window. We don't want to learn anything. And when we learn a little bit, we think we know everything. We stop learning. And that's true about teachers. When we talk about such programs or events like aspirations, I sometimes wonder, why don't all the schools, why don't all the teachers, why don't all of us have 100 hours with Parnavda? Because if I ever thought I wasn't going to run schools and go into the rigmarole of talking to my contractors and my inspectors and my people who are managing my schools and trying to find out and discipline everyone around me, or trying to make new schools, buying property, or doing the haggling with people who are so far away from Stephen Hawking or Parnavda, I sometimes feel about what Mr. Bhatia teaches. And I just think about it, and I feel to myself, if I ever had an alternative vision of another career, I would definitely do 10% of what he's doing. Because he says he's a theatre nomad, I would call him a knowledge nomad. Because his problem is he has no boundaries. He can skip over from physics to Bhimsen Joshi in a minute. He has at the back of his hand what kind of a knowledge he has. And I love it because I also belong to that part. And I would end by saying one thing. Joseph Kepler, when he found out that the earth was round, and Copernicus, when he found out the moon's rotation. And these guys, and Galileo obviously with the telescope, these guys were not liked by the Pope at that time. So to Pope John Paul IV, he always used to give them the, like, I'm going to kill them, I'm going to do this and that, and all kinds of excommunication, as we used to call it at that time. So what happens, and Stephen Hawking says this in his book, that one fine day, the Pope is sitting under his cathedral and the cathedral roof falls on top of him. That was a sure sign that gravity exists. So the gravity existed. Even when Pope Paul could say anything against gravity, he would say there's no gravity, 7 days and the earth was born. That's it. The rest is hearsay. We are still living in that era. How are we still living in that era? We refuse to learn. And let me tell you, after the Greeks did all these things, for 2,000 years, religion, philosophy stopped scientific progress. It's a harsh thing to say, but it is true. Ignorance was fostered on the people by some people who had a very, very strong, something it happened in India as well. So, chuck all of that, be knowledge pujaris, make it into a knowledge ashram. Don't go for quick fix solutions of getting a career or becoming going on a post. Read everything across. Do the newspaper, the live newspaper, the dead newspaper. Do everything which you can and get into the knowledge bandwagon. Call your school a knowledge ashram. So wish you all the best and wonderful start to aspirations. It feels in Annapurna, David is inviting all the Goliaths of 33 schools, and it's so good to see that you imagined and dreamt about it. Wonderful show with Charan Das Chor. Habib Tanwar was with us, and this was just 1, 2, 3 months before he left forever. And I had just 10 minutes with him, and what an amazing brain he was. So thank you so much, everyone. Can we have a big round for Sunbeam School and the whole school? Over to you, thank you.
So we have to announce it.
Thank you, sir and ma'am. Can we please have you for the announcement and the declaration for the event Aspirations 2022 Open?
We declare the second edition. So the I is ma'am's I.
I declare Aspirations 2022 open.
Thank you, sir and ma'am.
As we come to the end of the inaugural ceremony, now we kindly request the audience to rise for the National Anthem.
The cultural kingdom of our country is embellished with plenty of historic places, from the revered ghats perched on the banks of River Ganga to architecturally unique grand fort that narrate tales of city's royal past to the quaint temples and museums. It is often referred to as City of Temples and Learning. It is the oldest living city and is heterogeneous with multiple layers of religion, culture and art forms. Our heritage is our pride, and preserving and leading the same is the way to show patriotism towards our nation. Sunbeam Annapurna takes the initiative to make the citizens aware of the importance of their cultural and historical inheritance. Let's all rise for our national anthem. the event would definitely end with a handful of winners and just one champion overall. But I, on behalf of Team Sunbeam Annapurna, would like to assure you all that the next 2 days would be very fruitful from the learning perspective, and you would cherish these moments as you move down the memory lane the rest of your lives. So let's clap for the spectrum of talent that has brought us this far, and let us all gear up for this mega celebration. Thank you and Jai